You know, it's a common myth and trope you see in TV that people are going to panic and trample each other in an emergency, like a fire in a theater. Am I allowed to say that? Yeah, I'm not in a theater. I'm allowed to say that. Anyway, the reality is people tend not to panic in emergencies, statistically speaking. And studies instead tend to show people tend to remain rational and composed and even altruistic. So what is it that leads to these trampling situations we sometimes hear about in the news? And the answer actually seems to lie more in physics as well as herding behavior. Basically, reactions to the physical presence of others. For example, you'll see what are called seeding behaviors, where you have a bunch of people so close to one another that when one moves, it physically pushes the other, and you actually can see sort of a wave travel through the crowd. So it's not so much that somebody is panicking and trampling as they physically have their body moved by this wave and crush the person who might fall over and be underneath their feet. And all of this is why the advice when you're stuck in a crowd is to walk diagonally to the edge of the crowd to avoid being in the center of mass, as well as keep your arms out to kind of create space so that you're not immediately pushed by that wave. And on a psychological level, it seems primarily controlled by a variable we call nervousness. This is basically defined as the blind action one takes in order to try and maintain what's going on around you. And it becomes reflexive and therefore problematic because sometimes we make bad decisions. Still, overall, that trope on TV of a bunch of people screaming and running from the fire blindly seems to largely be a myth. And instead, the bigger problem seems to be our bodies becoming mindless baubles in some collective wave.